It's here. It's the rebuild portion. There's going to be free agency changes. We're going to talk about them tonight. We're going to answer all of your questions because this is your show, Chiefs Kingdom. This is going to be an up and down evening. I think you guys are looking forward to it. A lot of questions to be answered. Dan and I will do our best to get through it. I just want to say this. I know it's like tough getting back up right now for the offseason, but there's a lot of possibilities in the future. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I think I am as well. So let's get into it. Welcome to RGR Football. If the intro. I think I was. Well, I'm back, and there we go. A little hiccup with the intro tonight, folks. It's always a good time. Hopefully, you weren't seeing me yelling at my computer. Knock on wood, that's fine. But, things like that happen, and sometimes you just got to figure them out. And tonight, some of our sponsors can help us with some of these hiccups as well. We're brought to you tonight by DraftKings. The moment you've been waiting for is almost here. You can lay all your odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And for Super Bowl 56, and they have a brand new deal for you. New customers right now get 56-1 odds on either team. Doesn't matter what you want. You get 56-1 odds. Just bet $5 and you can earn $280 in free bets onto your account if your team wins. And DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in New York, so you can check that out as well. I know there's a ton of you. Gooch might be in New York tonight for all I know. Meaning you can bet from almost a third of the country at this point. If Sportsbook isn't in your state, you can also check out the fantasy games on DraftKings daily fantasy side as well. Now, new customers get a free shot at $1 million top prize, and that's certainly worth doing. All you have to do is go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code RGR21. Yes, we're still using RGR21, and you get 56-1 odds on either team, whoever you think is going to pull this off. Just bet $5 to get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That promo code, again, is RGR21 at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. You got to be 21. Minimum age and location requirements vary by the jurisdiction, so check that out. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for a full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Gaming problem? Please check out 1-800-GAMBLER. And in Tennessee, call or text TN Redline. In Connecticut, hit 888-789-77777777.
All the
way that goes. Or visit ccpg./ in New York, call or text HOPENY. Thank you, DraftKings, and thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell right now. For those of you that are new, that have been watching this season, found us now randomly as we start to approach the draft. Dan and I are going to turn our focus to the draft very, very quickly. Tonight, we're going to start with where the roster is and what can happen relatively quickly. I know you guys have a ton of questions. This is the Q&A show. We do this. Let me zoom us out a little bit. We do this on Mondays and Thursdays. You'll see that up here. So you can always find us those nights. And I see there's questions coming in already. Those of you that are old hands around here, you're doing it right. Put the question marks at the beginning of your question. That helps me find them. And if you choose to super chat, we super appreciate the support. That's the easiest way to do it. We will make sure we're going to answer all your questions tonight, and I know you guys have a ton of them. Real quick, Eric Bieniemy did not get the Saints job. That just came out this afternoon. They are hiring Dennis Allen, who was their defensive coordinator. So they ended up interviewing a bunch of people from outside and ended up staying with their in-house guy. Are you surprised, Dan?
Not so much that they hired Dennis Allen. I think we've seen kind of a trend with organizations. They were offensive-minded with Sean Payton. Typically, when you get off of one of those guys, you go the opposite end. You've seen it pretty much all offseason. They went from offensive-minded to defensive-minded or vice versa. So I wasn't surprised it did that. I was surprised that he was in there for 9 hours and didn't get a head coaching job,
right,
when the average is about 6, they say. That's what makes me a little upset, because you keep him an extra 3 hours the day before you come down with the verdict, basically telling us you already knew who your head coach was going to be. And especially when they come out with the criteria that their GM has for them getting head coaching jobs, and Eric Bieniemy was 0 for 2 on that. So it doesn't make much sense. And so, yeah, a little frustrating with that, but not surprised they went with Dennis Allen.
Yeah, I can't say I'm not really truly surprised either. At the end of the day, a lot of ownership and GMs just feel comfortable with guys they know. And that's why you see all around the league that things just kind of follow those lines. You're either this guy's guy or not. I lost a job because of that, because I wasn't the new coach's guy.
Ridiculous.
Most times in the NFL, when you're part of a staff and they change something, everybody gets fired. So it's life in the big city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, the average interview in the NFL is probably 4 or 5 hours. The Saints say that they generally go 6, but to go 8 and not get something out of it, unless maybe they're setting up for an offensive coordinator position, because we also found out, and I had forgotten about this myself, that Eric Bieniemy's contract is expiring. So there's still a chance that he may not be in Kansas City this season, which I know is interesting for a lot of folks. And I see a lot of questions about it in here. So we're going to get your questions right away, but just gut check, Dan, what do you think? Is he be the coordinator in 2022?
I'm going to say no. And that's not because I don't think he should be the coordinator. I think that the Chiefs and Eric Bieniemy need sort of a break. I think that you've seen this team be one of the best offenses in the NFL over the course of the last 4 years with Eric Bieniemy. But I also think that it's stagnant. And at a certain point, we all want Eric Bieniemy to succeed. I think that the Chiefs want Eric Bieniemy to get a head coaching job at some point. At this stage, I'm not so sure that continuing to be the offensive coordinator in Kansas City is going to get him that job. So maybe going down to the college ranks and finding himself a head coaching job there to prove that he can actually do this, because apparently being the offensive coordinator for one of the most successful offenses under Andy Reid, who has multiple head coaches under his tree, is not good enough for these GMs, which we can get into that whole thing if we want to, but probably not the night for that, because I have a lot of different opinions on that.
That's a whole show.
That's a whole show on that.
That is a whole show.
So yeah, I think
we might even have to do a member stream for that one, because I'll be cussing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great idea. Actually, we could totally do a member stream on why Eric Bieniemy is really not getting a head coaching job, but that's neither here nor there.
No, there's a lot to go over there. We're going to get into your questions now, folks, because we're going to go down a rabbit hole if we take that topic any farther.
Yes, very
but
much.
the question that Stevie has, and thank you for the super chat, Stevie. Appreciate the support as always. Folks, you can see Stevie on this channel as well. He and Gooch and Sean have a couple of episodes coming up on the Rogue Head Huddle on Fridays. You can check those out at your leisure. Why has Lovey got a head coach job? It's because he rehabilitated his image, basically. He was an over 500 head coach when he got fired from the Bears, had a rough patch, goes to Illinois and kind of rebuilds his reputation as being able to connect with the younger kids and stuff again, right? That's what they think. Is that the reality? I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone in the Illinois program, so I can't tell you for certain. But he's also kind of he's a super positive guy. And I think there's a comfort level with some NFL execs. Does that hit you as part of the equation as well?
Yeah, this seems to me kind of like, here's my own opinion. I think the NFL told them you can't hire Josh McCown after what Brian Flores just did. My personal opinion is you can't, that's what they did. There's no fact based on this. I have nothing to back it up. But I will say that when you have, we all know that Culley was a placeholder. He was a placeholder at this point. They brought him in for a year. He did way better than anyone expected him to, and then he got fired. And to me, this feels like the same thing. This feels like they're just buying their time for another head coach that they want, which is Josh McCown or someone else in that regard. And they don't necessarily want Lovie Smith to be their head coach later. They just know that if they hire him for a year and then they can fire him, and no one's going to bat an eye about Lovie Smith getting fired.
No, I think that's kind of worn down on the expectations, right? I think they have a credibility problem too.
Yeah, very much.
With Josh McCown, who's never coached. So I think it was smart of them to avoid that. I think it's very wishful thinking to think that Josh McCown could walk into a program and run it. Nothing against Josh McCown or any of the McCowns. I think there's 18 of them. No, nothing against any of them. But to say that you can go from 0 to 60 to a head coach job is crazy.
Yeah.
So Now, on the flip side, Hydra asked, why is EB not a head coach? And I think it's generally the opposite. I think Eric Bieniemy has a demeanor about him that makes GMs and owners a little uncomfortable. And I think a lot of credit is always going to be in the back of everyone's mind that Andy Reid's doing the bulk of the play calling, the bulk of the play planning, and that knocks him down in credibility.
My biggest thing is that typically when everything's going well, everyone's like, that's Andy Reid. And when everything's going bad, that's Eric Bieniemy. And that's an image that I think even sticks with GMs for some unknown, actually not unknown reason, again, for a different time. It sticks with these guys, and they want to blame all the bad things that happen in the offense on Eric Bieniemy, and everything that's good is because of Andy Reid. And there seems to be no divide when, if we're being very honest, the offense under Andy Reid with Doug Peterson and the offense with Andy Reid under Matt Nagy wasn't as good as it has been under Eric Bieniemy. Obviously, the quarterback is different, but the styles of what they're doing, much more nowadays NFL. He's gotten to coach with all this stuff. He knows the concepts for these quarterbacks. But no, he's not good enough. Again, I'm not going to get on a tangent, but this is just getting started.
It is. I think it's going to be an interesting saga here, and that might be the nicest way to put it. It's going to be up and down for a bit, folks. So let's ride it out, see what happens. At the end, it could end up being a status quo.
Yeah.
So we just won't know until we know. Jacob, thank you for the question. A lot of talk about Mahomes not trusting some of his receivers. Do all quarterbacks struggle with that? I mean, I think it's a little unique. Dan, you tell me if I'm wrong, because he has so much trust in Kelsey and Hill. Everyone kind of has to pale by comparison.
Just a little bit. I think that's kind of how it's gone. He got so close with both Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and they do what he wants them to do. Like, they have this unspoken understanding, and it's on the field. It's exactly what happens when you see elite level talent players being able to do what your quarterback wants. And you don't have that everywhere else. And to some extent, I think Patrick has seen that when he throws it in the direction of a Pringle or a Hardman or a Robinson, they're not where exactly he expects them to be, because you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce being exactly where he expects them to be. And that's in part Mahomes' fault, and in part Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill just being that good. So I think we've seen Pringle and Hardman over the course of probably the latter half of the season establish more of that trust. And I think that's very important, and probably why they're going to work to bring Pringle back, because then they'd have to go through this whole process with somebody else.
Yeah, and I think that is absolutely true. That reputation comes and that environment comes over time. And starting, you can't just wipe everything out. You have to have some continuity there besides the two stars.
Yeah.
Is there, Canadian Chief, thank you for yours. Is there anyone out there you would trade our number one pick for? In free agency? I mean, I looked at a quick list the other day. I didn't see anybody. I was like, I have to go get him.
I mean, typically I'm not looking at a free agent list to see if I'm going to trade somebody. But not really, unless there's a defensive end that makes themselves like known they don't want to be where they are. Chandler Jones is still under contract in Arizona. If he is, he would probably be the guy that I say, okay, I'm okay with them going to try to do that, but you're also going to have to pay him. This is another situation where the Chiefs find themselves in.
I think he's actually going to hit free agency.
Okay, well, if that's the case,
if I read that list right.
Yeah, if that's the case, then that's
so
different.
Yeah. I mean, it's an intriguing list. We have a bit of a delay.
We do have a bit
so I'm just going to forge ahead. I don't know if it's me or you, but it's something.
I don't know.
If you had to keep one and let one go between Spags and EB, who would it be? With all the DC that are out there, it seems like I would think that you would want a run-heavy OC to balance Andy out. That's what we thought, but they're no run heavier now than they were with Nagy or Peterson, to tell you the truth.
No, and honestly, if I had to let one go, people aren't going to like this answer, or they would, I don't care. I would let Spags go and bring back EB, because like I've talked about multiple times, I think Spags is style is not built for this NFL unless this new defensive line coach helps him get more athletic speed guys in at defensive end that we've seen have helped. Like Ingram came in, Melvin Ingram came in and was like, hey, guess what? This is what happens when you put speed and athleticism at defensive end. And it actually works. So
yeah. Now I don't know that it's on the coach. If it's on Joe Cullen, who is your new defensive line coach, folks, Brendan Daly is going to linebackers in a preparation move for he to someday become a DC. Mm-hmm. I think it's more about Spags convincing Veach that, hey, I can change my spots. You know what I mean? I don't have to have the huge power ends and do it like that. Let's hope that that's true. We'll see. Because I think there are more plentiful, like, athletic rushers here than true, like, power edges in this particular class. There are a few, but I don't think there's a ton of them. Oh, shoot, I just clicked the wrong one. Madman, I like yours. Draft Georgia D lineman Wyatt. He's the interior D lineman in the first. Trade up you have to. Best player on that talented defensive line. I don't know. Trayvon Walker's pretty dang good. And if you're just talking about the front four, yeah, I mean, but Wyatt is very good. He is, and that's not take away from Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is great, but Jordan Davis is more run and eat up space and take doubles so that others can get single matchups than he is shoot gaps and destroy the pass rush himself. Whereas Wyatt, I think, reap the benefits of that. So the question becomes, can you run two of those successfully? I think you can. I'd put him next to Chris Jones and have fun all day long.
Yeah, I would too. But I'm not trading up for
maybe Dan does.
I'm not trading up for a defensive tackle in the first round. I'm just not doing it. That's not something that I would ever do. And it's not to say he's not a great player, because he definitely is a great player. If I'm trading up, I'm going to get a defensive end. I'm going to get a safety. I'm going to get, maybe not a safety. I'm going to get a corner. And that's kind of my thing. I'm not doing it for a defensive tackle.
Right, I like where you're coming from.
It's got to be me.
I keep hearing Marcus Williams from the Saints is the only problem that he doesn't fit Spags' scheme. I tell you what, Dan, if you want to drop out and come back in, we can try that and see if that fixes anything. And the truth is, Jared, I mean, that's fair. He hasn't played in a scheme that's exactly like what the Chiefs have been doing with Spags lately, but safety play is safety play at the end of the day. I think it's much less about how he fits than what his skill set is. In that, is he good at disguising his coverage? Is he good at getting into clean drops on the back end? Those are the things. And I added Dan before I got his picture, so we'll wait a second. There we go. So those are the things that it's the skill set within the scheme. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the front seven, it's much more about the scheme, in my opinion. Is that clearing us up at all, Dan?
I don't know. I hope so. I think it's me, so you're gonna have to tell me if I'm like right behind you or not. So,
yeah, no, that was close on time. I like that.
Okay,
that was great.
That's good.
Patrick, if you were Veach, give us 3 moves you would make to start the offseason. What are your top 3 moves, Dan? I'm gonna fix my light here.
All right, so I think I'm going ahead and I'm gonna bring back Melvin Ingram. I think he's one of the keys to having some turnover at defensive end. You're going to have some guys who already know the system a little bit, and you can help the young guys grow a little bit more. I think you have specifically a guy in Joshua Kendo who has some athleticism to him, and Ingram can help move him along. I'm also bringing back Byron Pringle, and I'm doing it because I think that you can have sustained success at the wide receiver position with guys that Mahomes trusts, and I think that's just as much as important it is to adding talent. I think keeping the trust that you have there is imperative. Okay. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Tyrann Mathieu was not going to be a Chief next year. Just not going to be a Chief. So I think you're looking at bringing in a guy like maybe Quandre Diggs, who's going to be a little bit less expensive and plays that true free safety role, and moving Juan Thornhill to the Tyrann Mathieu spot permanently. I think that's what I'm doing. A guy also in Diggs who creates a lot of turnovers. So I like the idea of taking Thornhill and moving him into that role that Tyrann Mathieu brings, and getting a true free safety who can do more of what we saw Thornhill do in his rookie season. We haven't seen him do, to be honest. So that's what I'm looking at.
I'm with you. And I hope that they can work something out with Tyron, I have to say.
Too.
But
I do too.
Justin Reed's a free agent as well.
Yeah, Justin Reed's young.
And he can play. He's young. He can play deep. He can be that counterpoint to Juan as well. But I would say my top 3 moves. I would cut Frank.
Yeah.
And just bite the bullet. I'd mark it as a post. So you really only talking about 8 and dead cap, and I think you get 19 back. Yeah. And in the meantime, you say, hey, if you want to come back, we'd love to have you. You just got to take an $8 million 1 year, and we can do that because I think they can get that done. Yeah. Then I'm reworking Patrick's 27, I think it is, roster bonus that will give them another 20 in cap space. I think they're going to do that anyway. I don't know if it'll be the first thing, but that's what I would do. And then I probably release Hitchens next. And at that point, you've gained about $50 million. Now, you're going to have to franchise tag Orlando. So that 20 you just got from Patrick's contract goes to Orlando's contract. And so, that's a wash. Yeah. But then you start working on the tough stuff. That's the order I would go with.
Makes sense.
Let's see. We got a couple of super chats to get to. And, yeah, we are doing better now, Dan. It's time to clean out both sides of the fence. G'day, Alan. Clean them out. I mean, I don't think they need to start over from scratch anywhere. But there are certain things like they took the offensive line and they rebuilt it. I think you got to do that to the defensive front now too. Chris Jones might be the only survivor.
He might be. I think that you're going to see Derek Nottie still here, and I think Colin Saunders probably as well. I think that's pretty obvious. I think there's still some young guys at defensive end that are going to be as well. But the nuts and bolts of the starters, yeah, I agree. I think you need to bring in a whole different array of guys. At defensive end, if it's not going to be Ingram, you got to find something to do. If it's going to be Clark and Reed, probably too. I don't think he's going to be in Kansas City next year because obviously his contract is up, and I don't think they're going to try to bring him back.
Yeah. Jared, yeah, that's what we were talking about before, the expiring contract of EB, which, again, it was something that I kind of spaced on. I figured they would have something done by now, or he would have a new job. It does make it a little bit more likely with Kafka moving on. That's true. In terms of continuity, that helps. But I don't know. There's so many guys in the Andy Reid tree. I don't know that that's enough of a reason. So, let's see. How happy are Andy and Eric together, working together? We're going to find out based on the result that we see coming here real soon. Let's see. Is Dan Tricky have an R2D2 mug?
I am. This is
good eye, Holly. I mean,
it's very colorful. It's hard to miss, but it's awesome. I love it.
That's funny. I can't believe I missed that too, because I am kind of a Star Wars guy too. Maybe not as much as Dan, because I don't have a mug.
No.
But hey. Majai Sanders or something like this. Is he worthy of a target in the second? Yes. And most importantly, possibly in the first. Sanders had a good week at the Senior Bowl. He's going to get a bump out of it. I had him in the mid-second. I think I was kind of low compared to a lot of what the experts say. The Matt Millers, I think Dane Brugler, who I trust probably the most in terms of the national voices, I think he had Majai in the top 10 of the second round. So if he gets a little boosted, you might have to do it with the first round pick. I don't know. Where do you like him, Dan? Have you watched him yet?
I've seen some of Sanders. I've watched some Penn State, so I've seen him. Obviously, I'm a Michigan fan, so I get to see Penn State every single year. And
no, Majai is Cincinnati.
Majai is Cincinnati. I was thinking of a different player for some reason. I don't know why. Every time I think of Majai, I think Penn State. But I've also actually watched the Cincinnati defense. Yeah, I think Sanders just kind of threw me off. So I've seen Cincinnati defense as well. I've watched a little bit here and there. I'm not spending a first-round pick on Sanders myself. I'm gonna if it comes to that, and he's the highest guy on my board, I'm trading back. That's what I personally would do.
Fair enough. And like I said, I have him right now as a mid-second.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my guy Malone, though, you guys asked me for a sleeper 3 or 4 weeks ago. Deangelo Malone, I told you, he showed up there. He impressed a lot of people. He might make it in the top 100, and especially with the Chiefs having 2 picks there between 92 and 104. Mm-hmm. He could end up being one of them. And man, he comes off the edge like a freight train. It's awesome. He's a little light in the pants, to tell you the truth. Setting the edge is going to be something he's going to have to work on. But man, when it comes to rushing the passer, he is effective. And then I'll give you guys another one. Another guy that flashed last week was Foxworth. Dang, I'll have to go back to him and grab his name. But another lower school guy should be like a fourth rounder, something like that is my guess. But I like what you're going to, Bartimus. Like that's the opposite of what they have now. Majai Sanders is thinner, although at 236, he actually did a pretty good job holding off like Fa'alele, who's 380 pounds.
I'm not super
but
impressed.
He's a speed, skinny guy.
I've watched a bit of Fa'alele, and he just seems like a big body who doesn't have much technique. He just seems to be.
Yeah, he's only played 5 seasons.
Yeah, he's getting bowled over a lot. So.
Yeah, when you get into his chest, he doesn't play with a low enough center of gravity, so he got bowled over a couple times. And Sanders was one that puts him on his rear. So, hey, you got to play with whatever leverage you got. But Martimus, good eye. We'll have more for you. And folks, we're going to go every position. We're going to go through everything. Dan and I have a busy off season coming. Luckily, I've gotten a little bit of a jump this year. I know I was a little distracted mid-season and getting caught up on the college kids, but this is why it'll pay off now. So, Rifleman, I know it's probably too soon, but are you going to be making another draft board like you did in previous years?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You will see the draft boards from everyone here on the channel, actually. In fact, Aaron just asked me about his today. So all the contributors in RGR will have the ability to put up their own draft boards. I will do the normal athletic matrix draft. I will do the full draft guide with all the production metrics as well. Dan and I are going to do film grades this year. That will be worked into the draft guide as well. We'll have all kinds of stuff. And I think we might even put something up somewhere. I might start something where we can post our rankings and you guys can just go through that. I'm not going to start writing articles because I will hurt everybody's eyes with the way that I spell, but I want you guys to be able to see the rankings if you want to, and we'll put it behind a Substack wall or whatever. So if you don't want to deal with it, you don't have to, but those that do can. It'll be super simple. Thanks for asking, Rifleman. Devin, do you think Eric Beamer will get a head coaching job at the Saints? No, he already missed out on that. That's what we were talking about before. They announced that just about half hour before we started. I'm cool with EB, but what about some new blood in there? Marty, that's a good point. Like, you can still hybridize this thing, right? I don't think Joe Blameyer is ready to become like a quarterback coach, like on its own. I think he needs more.
Yeah.
But he does have the background playing receiver. Like, you could see that happen. With Kafka jumping the line kind of, and I don't mean to downplay Kafka's like prowess either. But it's not the natural progression. You want to see everybody kind of move up, and that's what Andy Reid had hoped for. So how does it get jumbled now? That's going to be the question.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. And I don't have any issues trying to get some new blood in here either, because I think that at the end of the day, I think Andy kind of needs it, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Jaden, I really hope you guys see this question. Alex Smith should be our number one candidate for QB coach. I love the idea. I don't think that's something you can just jump right into. I know there's familiarity, and I know that he's played quarterback in the last couple of seasons, but being able to play and being able to coach it are two very different things. And sometimes it takes an interim somewhere to do that. So I don't know if he's going to even be on the list yet, to tell you the truth.
He's got to show a want to coach. Experiment. Yeah, I think he's got to show a want to coach. I don't think he's even hinted at the idea of trying to coach yet. I think that since he already requested kind of interviews to be a booth guy for ESPN and stuff like that, I think that's where his mind is right now. And I'm not so sure it's the coaching stop. So you got to get your mind there first in order for him to, or for anyone to even consider you being a type of coach.
Yeah. And let's remember, you guys, it is a total grind. Yeah. The grind as a coach is worse than the grind as a player. It is like Andy could offer me a job tomorrow as the QC coach, and I would not take it.
Nope.
I am happy to consult with the front office. Seriously, Veach, I've only been calling you for like 5 years. But I would not take a coaching gig, you guys. It destroys your sense of time, your family life, the whole 9 yards. Like, the amount of time, you don't even know how much time the coaches put in to their profession. It's incredible. It is a bigger sacrifice than I'm willing to make at this point in my life. I'll tell you that. But we will see. Stevie, he disagreed with something when teams were losing and firing HCs. They usually hired the opposite. A lot do, but Payton retired, so it makes it a little different. I guess that's fair.
But you also don't have anybody else like Sean Payton in the building or coming into the building.
And
I think that they just wanted to change. And I think that Dennis Allen, given those opportunities, proved his worth to them. And that's pretty much what did it.
Well, I also think it's reading the tea leaves.
Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback you can go get.
Nope.
You're in cap hell, so you're not getting a veteran.
Your defense is going to be the best
class
way of
is
going
iffy at
forward.
best. Exactly. Like bolstering the defense, I think, is a good way to balance and try to make Taysom Hill work. I mean, Jameson's a free agent, right? So I don't know that he makes it back.
I would hope
we'll find out. I think it's really interesting. The let's go back to Tampa talk. That's crazy, but hey,
I was there first.
Good things have happened, right? Yeah, were you? Okay. Cole, what do you think about about Scanling?
No, I say I have the tweet of my Jameis Winston thing. But
gotcha.
Yeah, Cold Ape. I'm probably a no on Mark Valdez standing on Scantling. I don't think he's a very well-rounded player. I think you saw exactly what he brings to the table. He's a deep threat. And the Chiefs have Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. And McCole Hardman's younger. He's faster. And I don't think you just need to be chopping in deep threats. You need guys who can run routes, get open underneath, and MVS can't do that.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I think you have what he does on the roster already. I would rather pay through the nose for Devontae than get a deal on Scantling myself. Bartimus, welcome to the memberships. Good job.
Appreciate you.
I'll get you an invite. Folks, if you join the memberships, you get all the extra videos, all of us, talking like as though we were all hanging out, which means there's cuss words in it. They can't be on the regular channel. And then you also get to be in the Discord as well. All you got to do is email me. You can find that right. Oh, no, that's Seth Substack. It's right here. rgrpodcast@gmail. And I'll get that automated at some point, hopefully this offseason. June sounds like a good time to do that, right? When there's nothing else to do. So
exactly.
I'll try to get that cleaned up then. Let's see. We got that one. Let's see. What's Kevin asking? Chances the Chiefs trade for Saquon Barkley? 0. One of your commitment seems like a perfect pick, and you would only take a 3rd or 4th round. There's no way.
There's 0 chance, guys.
I know. After giving up a 1st round pick for a running back, you cannot sink another top 100 into it. There's no way in sin.
You can't, and you also can't undermine your 1st round pick. And I know that everyone's talking about just move on from him. The Chiefs, I think, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I believe they do, considering everything that they've done and that Patrick Mahomes wanted him on the team. They need to use him properly. And I've tweeted this out today. When you watch them use him properly, he's explosive, he's decisive, and he's faster than he looks when he's doing things he doesn't do well. When he's doing outside zone or things like that where he has to get to the edge, he looks really slow. But if you get him downhill on these power runs, these inside zone, and let him actually cut and go, he can get what you're looking for. And then I personally believe they're going to add some late round UDFA speed. That's only because they actually need it. They don't have anything else, and McKinnon's not back on the team. He's also slower than he used to be. So I think that they're going to bring in some youth and speed to the position. But Clyde is your running back, and they're not going to sink higher draft capital into a Saquon Barkley who's been dealing with a lot of injuries over the course of his
career. If it wasn't for the knees, I think it could be on the table, Kevin. I think that the injuries are like the final straw.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's something to be said about having a running back field like the Browns have with Hunt and Chubb, where you have 2 guys that you can really run the run game. But that's not what Andy does.
No.
So, especially with the knees, I can't see it happening. But we thank you for the support, and I'll try to come up. I'll look into the speed backs that could be available in the draft. I've seen a lot of power backs so far.
Keontae Ingram.
Okay, I'll get there. Running backs will be the last position I look at, folks. About 2 days before the draft. Are there any worth drafting in later rounds that you think could bring back Damian Williams? I don't think Williams will be back. I think he slowed down a little bit, to tell you the truth. But is there anybody at the back end of the draft that you like at RB?
I like Keontae Ingram out of UCLA. I believe that or is it USC? I forget exactly which U team it is. But I think he's a speed type of back. He's not, there's no Jamal Charles out there, but he's an athlete. He can make guys miss. He has good contact balance for a running back his size, and he can stay on his feet, which is something you're looking for a guy who's got speed and can break away when he gets into that 3rd and 4th level. So he's a guy I've looked at specifically, and I don't think you're going to get a James Cook. I also am not touching a 24-year-old running back in the draft. Not doing it at all. So I know people have talked about him being like a Dalvin Cook, smaller version or whatever it is, because he's his brother. 24 years old, guys.
Yeah, makes it tough.
No.
They fall off a cliff at 30. It's just, everybody does. It's tough to be a running back in this league. Miss Holly, thank you for the support.
Thank you so much,
you
Holly.
are a saint. We appreciate you. And I like that you stole the question from Scott to do it with as well.
Right.
So, Scott, if you're in the chat, I'm glad you came up with this too. Mahomes didn't seem upset to me after the AFC Championship game loss, unlike Mathieu. Over the past 4 years, do you think Mahomes has progressed, regressed, or stagnated? Wow, I thought he was plenty frustrated, to tell you the truth. I didn't take that as lackadaisical at all. Did you?
Not really, especially after his interview during the Pro Bowl. I think he
Right.
just handles it differently. Mathieu is a very emotional guy. When have we ever seen Patrick be emotional? Like, show a true, full-fledged, like, sad kind of facade. I don't think
Right.
we've ever seen Patrick be that guy, because he knows, one, he's the leader of this team, and he has to instill that type of motivation and understanding while also conceiving and conveying his frustration. I think that he knows the way he presents himself, presents the organization, the NFL, and the team. So that goes into it. And Mathieu has always kind of been an emotions on the sleeve kind of guy. The way he handles himself on Twitter and things like that kind of go into it. So they handle it differently for me. And I think both of them were clearly upset. And Mahomes he holds it in a little bit differently. And I think he uses it for motivation more than anything else.
I certainly hope so. And for those of you that are new, make sure you like and sub and hit the bell so you're with us the whole way. We want to get more people on the channel as we go through the off season. Now, the second part of this question, in 4 years, overall, he has progressed. There are two things. We needed him to make better pre-snaps reads. He's been forced to do that with the way that they've played. I think he has progressed there as well. I do believe he has regressed in some of his decision-making, in some of his ability to control himself and his instinct to push the ball downfield and go for the home run all the time. I thought he was more controlled as a younger quarterback because he was still, I think, more heavily influenced by the head coach. Now he understands that it's all on him, and I think he gives himself too much, let's just go for it.
Well, early in his career, he was able to just go for it. He could pull the trigger because defenses were like, hey, we're just going to play what we want to play. We don't really understand the concept of how good you're going to be. And when defenses start to say, yeah, we're going to just stop that guy because he's the best quarterback in the NFL, and literally just stylistically change the way that they play football because of a quarterback, I think it didn't mentally catch up with him. And he was like, eventually they'll come out of it. We're going to run two plays here and 2 runs and get 6 yards carry, and they'll come out of it because they think we're going to run. And that didn't happen. That hasn't happened. It didn't happen all last year. And
do it more, Pat. Run until they make you stop.
I think that's the thing, is that they have to, as much freedom as Mahomes has a little bit here with his RPOs, they need to establish a little bit more of okay, get under center, run the ball until they commit to stopping it, and then run a play action off of it. Okay. That's what they need to do a little bit more of, and it will hone him back a little bit. And it will also allow the decision-making to be better, because on those play action passes, when you run the ball, guys are wide. They're wide open when you can run the ball, like against the Bengals. They could run the ball for days. They just hand it off to McKinnon or Clyde, get 6 or 7. And they could have done that until the cows came home, and then run play action off of it.
I always put it this way. You remember when Belichick had the Chiefs' number, had Andy's number? And they always felt like they knew what was coming. The whole league knows what's coming now because they know you're not going to smash it down their throats. So flip the script on them.
Yeah.
Do it until they make you. Run double tight all day long. I mean, I actually am, my opinion's rising on the tight end draft class about guys that come in, block, and be a weapon. So that could be something in the future. I hope it is. If you guys would do this, because Aaron said smash, I've said smash enough tonight, but if you would smash the like, that always helps us. A couple of others. What do we got in here? Yep, we hit 350. I love it. Share on social media. if you would subscribe and ring the bell, that always helps. We call the ladies around here Rogettes, so don't be offended. We like to include everyone. Thank you, Miss Holly. We appreciate your support as always. Jake,
Very much, Holly.
he's posted a tweet by Field Yates. Casey's retaining EB for a 5th year. Okay, cool.
I haven't seen
that
that
yet
confirmed by anybody though. I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere. I've just seen Field kind of post it because he didn't get the job. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Field's got people in the building though.
Yeah.
I would trust him. He used to work for the organization as well, so I know he has a lot of people he's still in touch with. I generally always try to like corroborate with a second source, but I would run with it if Field said it. And hey, good for them. Again, for Patrick, I think that helps. Just keep the ship on the same course. And now you can get a little spicy with the new blood you bring in, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I would hope so.
I hope so. Normal guy, thank you for getting back to the memberships. Appreciate you. Let's see. Jeremy. Kyle Phillips, Calvin Austin III, Christian Watson, Chad Muma. Y'all like any of these in the 2nd or 3rd round? Chad Muma is a 2nd rounder all day long.
Yes, he is. So is Christian Watson.
Yeah, I think he has elevated himself to that level. I would say Kyle Phillips might be an edge 100 guy. I think Kyle's probably in the 4th and Calvin's probably a round behind that.
I would agree. I think Phillips is in the 3rd, and then you got Austin in the 4th. I think that's about where I settle on him too.
Yeah, okay. I like Kyle Phillips. I was really disappointed. There was rumor in Mobile that he was going to get down there coming off of the other game, and I was really hoping to see him, but no joy. I did not get a chance to see him. My life can't be perfect. Ask the wife. If owners are concerned about EB not playing calls, did a couple of the OCs get hired that didn't play calls this off season? Yeah, I don't even know all the OCs that got hired. So
so here's what we're gonna do. I'm making my rant this week anyway because I'm now calmed down enough that I can do it and not just it be a slur of swear words. So I'll have the rant. We're gonna include this because I'm done. I'm done with it. It's nothing to you guys. Like, I appreciate the concern about EB. I am just sick and tired of the NFL doing this with him, and I'm just going to go all out. So you guys, if you're members, you are going to appreciate this. You're going to love it. And just...
Oh, it's a member rant. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We need that. Okay, folks. So it will be in the memberships. When Dan makes it, it will not be good for children's ears. That's why it will be in the memberships.
Yeah.
So. Ooh, okay.
It's going to be a good one.
All right. So we're going to put a pin in that. You'll address that where we can talk Cody. And not risk, getting bleeped by. Yes. Cody, good topic, my friend. You triggered him. I like it. Hydra, thank you for your support, which you always give. Would you be on board with bringing in Juju and Sami in free agency so that the draft could be defensively focused? I'm fine with the idea of Juju. The question is, do you trust him?
That's the one thing that I've
said. He
strung
strung you along. Right?
Are we off? We're off again.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
Go ahead. Answer. You answer it.
Okay. So I'm not going to bring Sammy Watkins back. And I love Sammy Watkins. I was one of the biggest Sammy Watkins supporters. But his hamsters are gone, guys. Like they're non-existent at this point. And if Juju Smith-Schuster can get over his TikTok stuff, because the Chiefs already have to deal with that to some extent, I'm all for bringing Juju in. But he's 26 years old. He can actually play outside, inside. I got no issues with it. I got no issues. He's going to be pretty cheap, too, coming off an injury. And I think he showed you in the wild card game that he's okay to play. I'm totally okay with it, but I'm not touching Sammy.
I hate to see it, but I completely understand, and I agree with you. Time catches up with everybody. And I'd have to go look. I don't think he played any more snaps for the Ravens this year than he did for the Chiefs the year before. So, yeah. Now, again, does Juju fit? Juju can run out of the X. He can run out of the slot. He does a little bit of everything. Ideally, he should be the third receiver, in my opinion. I still think you need a bigger, more aggressive X-type body that can still run. The aforementioned Christian Watson in the third might be fun to see. I'm just saying. Okay, so Dan's on board with that. We haven't discussed this yet, so it's always interesting when we throw this stuff out. But yeah, I could see it. I could see OBJ in a similar role. I don't know. You guys, at this point, it's all up for question marks. We got to see what they get for cap space first, and then it'll give us an idea. Laddie, thank you for the support.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate you, my friend. You guys check out Arrowhead One with the Laddie produces as well. And I didn't see a question. I went and rechecked the chat there, Laddie.
got
So
one.
if there's something else, does he? Okay, well, if you have it, then you read it.
I think so. I saw him commenting. Maybe it was just a comment.
Oh, okay, because I couldn't find a question.
Okay.
We'll get back to it. If you do have it again, throw it back in there, Laddie, and I'll grab it. What's up? Do you think it will happen with the DB positions? Also, I think Ward gets a lot of hate and believe he actually played very well this season. Your thoughts? Good points, Wes, and I appreciate that. I don't know what happens. I think they're going to let him test free agency, and he may come back on a light deal. I won't say a cheap deal, but a lighter one. I thought he progressed as well. I thought he got his head around better. I thought he played the ball better. He's still mismatched, and without letting him press, you're still putting him in a disadvantage for what his skill set is. So if they're not going to play press man, then I think you got to let him walk.
Yeah, and you
get a comp for him.
You just need to. Yes, that's honestly the best thing to do. He's still athletically limited. That's the biggest problem. I don't have any issues letting him play against a receiver one-on-one on the outside. For the most part, I think he's fine. He's starting to get his head around. That's fine. Anything else, and he's a liability. That's a problem.
Yeah, I can't argue with you at all. And I think this season showed you too that they are thin on margin now.
No.
Like you don't have as much leeway as you used to if they're going to continue, and they will. Teams will continue to play the Chiefs like this until Patrick fries them over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it's going to be. So it is, quite honestly, up to him to stay the course and do what he did in the first half against the Bengals, against everybody all the time, and just take his shots when they're presented to him. Yeah. And that's just about being disciplined. Kevin, would you sign Rasul Douglas and cut Clark to free up some cat space to sign a good DB or a safety in free agency and then draft Jermaine Johnson? I liked Rasul coming out. I can't say that he progressed overly great for me. It would depend on the contract size, but I wouldn't sign him to be my starter. I'll put it that way.
I agree with you, and you're also not drafting Jermaine Johnson, especially after he tests at the combine. He's going to be a top 15 pick.
Maybe. I actually don't see that. I talked to several people that have some serious questions about his physique. So I have some research to do on how many games he's missed for injury and what those injuries were. But I agree. I don't think he'll be there at 30. So I can't see going up to get him. As much as he dominated the Senior Bowl, there's a reason the juniors aren't there, you guys. So quite frankly, the offensive line group at the Senior Bowl was pretty poor.
Yeah,
the interior was better than all the tackles. So if you think Penning is now a first-round pick, I have some hard news to share with everyone. He's not. He may evolve into that, but he's got a much longer way to go than Spencer Brown did last year, in my opinion. I just don't see them on the same thing.
I agree with that.
So Jermaine's going to make somebody happy for a while, though. Let's see. Brett is a realistic D-line that could go after in the draft or free agency. We talked about Chandler Jones earlier. Like he should be a free agent, but he's 31 years old. Melvin's 33. I think Melvin's more likely to return than get a new defensive lineman, to tell you the truth, especially at the edge. But I don't know.
I think you could. Honestly, I got no issues with getting a little bit older at defensive end and maybe drafting a little young guys, because I think you bring in Ingram, you bring back Ingram. If you could get Jones in the building, you have two athletic guys that could help teach your younger, hopefully drafting more athletic guys, the ropes. And that's been the biggest problem, specifically for Kendall coming out of Florida State. They weren't coached properly. I think this would be an opportunity to get a new defensive line coach in who's worked with more athletic guys than Spags and Daly have to an extent. And now you get some of these older guys maybe on a 1 to 2 year deal and start turnover a little bit differently. I would be okay with that.
I can see that. I don't know. Now I got to think. I got to go do a little bit of research.
Yeah,
Jaden, thank you for the question. Do you guys think that they're going DE wide receiver CB or trading their first pick for a guy like Saquon? They will not trade for Saquon. We covered that earlier. They could trade for someone, but I highly, highly doubt it. And certainly not with the first round pick. I think they feel a little bit burnt by not having the first rounds. Like Brett Veach has had very few first round picks in his tenure. I think he needs to get better at that because the second round gets iffy real quick. But I do agree with you that those are probably what the team is thinking is their top three needs in defensive end, corner, and wide receiver. I would put them at wide receiver third, though.
Me too.
And I might even put something over that myself, but I agree that's what they think. Hey, Julian, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you back, buddy. Jim, in free agency in the draft, we need a defensive end, I'm guessing, and a safety, a corner, a wide receiver. And what positions do you need them in, and what would you think about that? I think you covered it all, Jim. Did I miss anything?
No, he just wants to know your order, what you think draft-wise.
Oh, the order. Oh, it's got to be defensive end or corner for me first, no matter what. Those are two of the four big pillars. So for me, I would never take, not to give away my draft strategy, but I would never take a position that wasn't corner, edge, tackle, or quarterback in the first round, period. I would trade out of it at every opportunity, even if it meant dropping myself farther than I wanted to, if it wasn't one of those core positions or a guy that is so good, like it's an Aaron Donald in college and you must take him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I leave the caveat in there for the super, super outliers, but yeah.
I get that.
What do you got?
I think defensive end and corner are almost 1A and 1B in terms of where you need to draft them. Safety, I would put in front of wide receiver because unlike most people, I think that they're fine at wide receiver. I really do. I think adding wide receiver would be more of a luxury than anything. I think that they've shown you their offense is just fine with guys that they have. And then you're probably going to add somebody in free agency. So I think that wide receiver at this point is just something that we continuously tell ourselves because Brett Veach says, yeah, always going to take an opportunity to add talent to the wide receiver room. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But that talent doesn't have to be in the first 3 rounds.
Fair. I personally would still take a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. I just don't know that I would do it in the first. There's very few guys that I think are like looked up right.
I just think in terms of like draft needs for this specific draft, like if you're getting a good Christian Watson in the 3rd round, I'm pulling the trigger. He's going to be a 2nd round pick, but like I'm pulling the trigger on that kind of stuff. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of their needs for this specific draft, it's less wide receiver and more everything else.
Fair enough. Thank you, Jim. Bill, thank you. If Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean are available at 30, how tempted are you to take a linebacker in that spot and target the others later? If they're the best player on your board, they're the best player on your board. I would do backflips if Devin Lloyd was there.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys never see me even try a backflip. That would be ugly, but I would do it for you.
Yeah. No,
but
too.
yeah, I mean, and it becomes that trade-off because strengthening that another young linebacker that can run and cover strengthens everything else in the middle. So yes, you have other fish to fry, but yeah, if he's your best, he's your best. Great question, Bill. Rev, how you doing? Kyran Johnson looked good. Yeah, I thought he moved well. Running him at edge, he's undersized, he's under length. He still, I think, produced 2 pressures in the actual bowl game, and he had a number of decent reps. I think he just has to be an off-ball line or an outside linebacker, a stand-up 3-4 rusher. But man, I agree with you. He looked small, but not completely out of place with the edge group down at the Senior Bowl. And I'll take any Jayhawk I can get in the league. Have either of you looked at Marcus Jones of Houston? I have not. Do you think that he can be a Chris Harris type slot corner? His return ability is sick. I have not looked at him yet. I looked at Hall, the DT, but I have not looked at the corners.
I haven't looked at him either. I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of Houston's defense later this week for a different thing I'm working on. So maybe I'll get a look at him this week.
I think that'd be great. And I'm interested to see what you come away with. I will try to have Hall done before then so we can compare.
Okay.
You know, there's just not enough hours in the days here lately, folks.
No,
So
there
we're going to
isn't.
do the best that we can. And I didn't mean to pull Steven up yet. Steven, well, I guess you can go now, Steve. Let's do that. If there were a good quarterback who's still available in the earlier rounds, would you draft him to be Mahomes' backup? No.
Nope.
I really like Bailey Zappi, and I think he's going to be a day 3 guy that you can get cheap. And I'm down with that.
See, I'm less inclined to believe he's going to be a day 3 guy. I think he might fall into the back half of the 3rd round because of someone saying, look at him. Just watch what he does and saying, I can turn that into a starting level caliber player because there's something there. I really believe there's something there. And I think if I can see it, some other GMs will see it too. And like, I'm going to go get that guy.
I hope you're right. I got called crazy when I would tell you he played better than Sam Howell did last week. I will tell you that I trust him to run a spread offense better than Sam Howell or Carson Strong. But people think I'm a nut job. It is what it is. That's okay. I can live with it. Let's see. We got Bills. Okay, Ross, great one. Because this is the question. These guys are right next to each other on my board. And I'm not going to let the Senior Bowl against lesser tackle competition jump Jermaine over Cameron Thomas. He's at San Diego State, folks, if you want to go watch him. Until I've done at least 5 games on both of them. Right now, I have Thomas slightly ahead.
I think the way it boils down for me is that I think Johnson's ceiling is higher than Thomas's ceiling is. Personally, I think the athletic upside is clearly there. And Thomas, out of San Diego State, I know we're taught to scout the player, not the college. That's how you do it. Level of competition matters, and Johnson's level of competition is better than Thomas's. So I have him right now until I've done a full, like Ryan said, a full thing. I have Johnson ahead of Thomas.
Okay. Well, this will be another one that we'll get to debate, folks. We'll have a Johnson versus Thomas show, I'm guessing, is what we'll do. Thank you, Ross. And is the offseason more exciting than the actual season? Alan, it has to be, because this is where you can correct what you just saw go wrong. But no, nothing thrills you more than Patrick Mahomes throwing bombs and being the Reaper. I mean, right?
No, not even a little bit.
Nah, there's nothing. By the way, Reaper gear is still available, folks. You can get it in the description. I feel bad because I thought that was going to become his new nickname. I thought it was all going to, even if he didn't have to pull it out. Oh, man.
That's all right.
Reaper Part 2 in 2022. That's what I'm going for. That's my new slogan. Info. Thoughts on Josie Jewell? Seems like he could be a cheap replacement for Neiman Hitch DOD. He's just one of those players that has his best games against KC, or is he underrated? He's just one of those players that has okay games against KC. And
that's exactly who he is.
Mediocre at best. Yeah. Definitely a depth player on this roster, but does have a lot of experience. Again, there should be no reason in a 3 linebacker set that Nick Bolton ever comes off the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we draft a right tackle or look for one in free agency? We should hope that Lucas Niang is healthy is what we should hope for.
Exactly. Like, I don't think I'm looking anywhere for a right tackle. I think maybe Rembers comes back. It looks like you probably have Wiley back, and you're assuming that Lucas Niang comes back at full health, and your right tackle set.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you could, if you want to like take a gamble on somebody for upside, like the Wazoo tackle was at the Senior Bowl. Got worked in a couple of places. Technique plays a little high, but he's super athletic. He looks like a less refined Eric Fisher coming out. Like, if you wanted to park him on the roster for 2-3 years and see what he becomes, I could totally get behind that with a 6th round pick or something. It's fine. You never know. There's some gems out there that could really raise up. I'll tell you this. I don't think the Central Michigan guys in this draft did themselves any favors last week.
No.
How did the Chiefs and V's process work, and who does what? I mean, that is a loaded question, Quinn, and I only know bits and pieces of it. They used to be very heavy on athleticism. they still are pretty heavy on it, but now they like edge and they like attitude and they like being able to raise your game. That's what they thought they had in Breland Speaks. That didn't work out. That's what they thought they had in McCole Hardman, and he's been a very gradual incline. So I don't know if they're going to go away from that some now that they're going to have to replace Poles. My guess is that Ryan Nutt gets promoted. Ryan has been their director of college scouting, formerly their SEC scout. I think he will become the next executive to work right there with Borgonzi and Veach. And let's see how that twists things, because I think that might put a different spin on some evaluations. But they're very good in terms of process. They're very good with their area scouts, do their work. They present, they go over, they debate a lot, but they give their area scouts a lot of voice. And everything that we've heard, the fact that we get to hear from the area scouts after the draft says a lot about how much faith they put in those guys. Look for this to be Trey Koziel's last season in Kansas City. He is another high scout. I think he's the assistant director right now. And I'm guessing he will go work for Ryan Poles after this season and become one of their directors. So like they've put this work into all these younger scouts and they've grown up through the system and now they have a lot of prowess. So the bottom line is always Reed vetoes everything. Veach has the next vote after that and everybody else has input. Mike Daniel, thank you for the support, my friend. It's nighttime for the baby. Hi.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the red light.
You gonna take a night?
I'm just going to take the red light, then I will pick you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, she's going to pick you up. I'd like to see that.
No, Avery can't go over there. Avery, you can't go back there.
Thoughts? Mike Daniel, thank you for your support. We appreciate you. Great pick here. Thoughts on Petrie, Ebiketie, and Josh Williams. Night. She can't hear me. I keep thinking that I'm
You
talking
always
to her
do
straight
that.
in. I'm just whispering in your ear. I know I always do. I'm a sucker. I thought Petrie was one of the best players at the Senior Bowl. I'll tell you that. And he looks as though he could be a legit nickel as well. I'm not going to make a direct comparison to him and Mathieu, but he can do a lot of the things that Tyron does, just not quite at the same level. And I hope that he will grow into the more instinctual ball hawk at the robber spot that Tyron has been. Ebiketie had some flashes. I haven't seen Josh Williams at all yet. So do you have any take on him?
I haven't seen him either. I like Petrie a lot. I think that, like you said, the mental aspect of his game is where he can grow a bit more. And that's very tempting for a player like that who can grow more. And Ebiketie is a work in progress for me. Those flashes, then you have the downs. So I need to see a little bit more of him too.
I'm with you. Thank you, Mike. Great questions.
Appreciate
We'll
you,
keep
Mike.
digging. I'll try to move Daniels up on my schedule. And Laddie got something else. Could Emmanuel Agba be returning to KC? I think it's possible. I think it comes down to the contract.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were kind of torn when they let him go. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think he's like 28, going to be 29 though. So I don't think it's going to be a long-term contract.
At this point, I don't think it can be, especially for a rotational player who's not going to get you probably double-digit sacks. I think he's going to be a productive rotational player, but he's not a guy you're going to say, okay, go be our left defensive end and just stay there, because that's not what he is at this point. I don't think he actually ever has been.
I guess that's fair. And man, we hit an hour. I didn't even realize it, guys. We're going to go and get sliding here. Julian, thank you. The CBs, Evans, Tariq Woolen, Bubba Bolden he likes, Dax Hill. Your thoughts on these players? I didn't even know Woolen until last week, and he really impressed me with his movement skills for how tall he is. I haven't watched Evans yet. Bubba Bolden, up and down for me. I think he jumps a lot of things and loses some of his assignments. And I like Dax Hill quite a bit. He and Petrie are probably my number 1 and 2 in terms of like a nickel safety. A nickel safety, nickel corner, and the safety group.
I think I'll be doing a film review on Wednesday of Daxton Hill. So we're going to get into that. And the rest of the guys are up and down on, to be honest with you. I haven't seen Evans. Like I said, Boland has been up and down too, but these guys are all just like potential. You just need a bit more consistency from some of these other guys. But I think Hill is like obviously the best of these guys, and I think that we're gonna see on Wednesday exactly how good he is.
Okay, I like it. Thank you, Julian. Good picks. Let me know what else you guys think. Let's see, Rick. What do you got? My button is slow. Hire Kurt Warner as a quarterback coach. No thanks. I'll pass. I heard he has a house in St. Louis, and even though he lives in Arizona, I heard his quarterback breakdowns. He's good at dissecting what other people do. I don't think he's good at teaching. He has been very critical of Patrick since the day he got drafted. I would not put him in that room.
I also think that Kurt guesses on like a lot of stuff. Completely guesses on stuff. Like I watched that breakdown that he did, and he's like, I don't know why he's doing this. He even says, like, I don't know why this player is doing this. Well, maybe because they were taught to do it from the coaching staff. Just because you don't like how they did it doesn't mean that it was wrong. Like, that's something I don't like.
Fair enough. And he has absolutely no ties to this system or this coaching staff. So I would see it as a very, very far stretch. If you guys would like share and put it out there at Facebook and stuff, because I don't really get on Facebook anymore. I'm pretty much all I have time for is Twitter. It's crazy. I have an Instagram account I don't use. I try to automate some of the posts over there so that you guys get notices if you're Instagram people, but I barely have time to use Twitter. So
yeah, right.
Lord knows I'd spell something wrong. So Pandy, I appreciate you. I like Smoke Monday. I'm not sure he has quite the jump in the athleticism that I have to have, but he's definitely gonna be in my mix for watching his film. And we'll see how he tests. And you're not the only one, because I think Bartimus said the same thing. Yep, absolutely.
And plus the name is elite.
He certainly plays with heart, and I love that. Yeah, right. And he plays hard. He plays with a lot of intensity. So I'm curious about Jashan Corbin, how fast he runs, if it's a 4.5 or not. I think he's worth a 6th round. I don't know his name, Mike. Either. So good call. Teaching me.
Right.
No? Okay.
Names that we.
I'm going to find that out. Right. I am going to type that out right here in a second. But let's see what the next one is, because I think Doug's got a question. Jashan Corbin. Got it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Where'd it go? There's Doug. Oh, it's falling off. Okay. Who are your top 3 favorites at the Senior Bowl? Oh, favorites. Perry and Winfrey. He can be nose. He could be a 3-tech. He's D lineman. I would put Petrie up there. And Khalil Shakir. I liked his film at Boise. I really liked him in person. He's wiry. He can get loose. He can play the X. He can play the Z. He can play the slot. Like, I really like his skill set. Is he enough to be a starter on the outside as a rookie? In this system, it might be a little tough, but I really like what he brings.
I like Shakir a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not blind. Do you think we should get rid of D-Rob and get Watson back as the number 3? No, we covered this before. We're not bringing Sami back. We appreciate his time, but not again. Mac, welcome to the memberships. I think you've been in there before, but if not, welcome. And you had a couple questions too. An EB rant. Oh yeah, he's in for that one. Good. I don't think you'll be disappointed. But here's what would you like most? Spend big on an edge and draft a wide receiver round 1, or draft an edge 1 and spend on a wide receiver. I would spend on a proven commodity at wide receiver myself.
Do I have to spend?
And I'd go, you don't want to spend it all, do you?
No, I don't. I mean, if I'm being myself with you guys, I don't. In this situation, I'll take the wide receiver in free agency, like a Godwin, and I'll take an edge in the first round. But I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I think there's higher quality edges in this draft than there are wide receivers, and so I'm with you. I'm following the same line. Thank you, Mac. You had another one also with the Jags DC being our LB coach. Is a 3-4 switch possible? No, he's not the LB coach. He's the new D-line coach. And they bumped Brendan Daly up to LBs. And no, it just because you bring in a D-line coach, he's coached it all both ways. He ran a hybrid for the Jags. He's run a hybrid in the past. At the end of the day, it's Spagnuolo's defense. So just getting a new D-line coach isn't going to change the scheme.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, they don't have the horses for it. They don't have 5 tackles on this roster. They'd have to start from scratch. What do you think about signing Allen Robinson? Yes, please. And can I have another?
He's going to cost so much money. I can't.
Disagree?
I can't.
I don't think so. He had a down season. I think you can get him
matter.
cheaper than they got him last year.
I think he gave up.
Okay.
Like he was done playing in Chicago.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I'd still offer him a middle contract. Do you feel that Andy's decisions and play calling are holding the team back, Steven? Situationally, yes. Because I think Patrick needs more direction. I think RPOs need to be curtailed in this offense, and you need to call runs when you want to run. I think that's an issue.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think we've seen that come in multiple times over the last couple seasons, and it's been a problem and something that, as much as Andy Reid talks about, I need to be better and these things, he doesn't seem to take his own advice. So that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I agree. But new season, new ideas. If Tyron does go, what team could you see him on? Oh, I don't know. I mean, they're losing the safety in New Orleans. It'd be going home for him. I could see that real easy.
Yeah, they don't have any money,
If I remember correctly, I think Dennis Allen's a fan. That's true. He'd have to take the hometown discount. He might do it for them.
Yeah, I could see Buffalo because they're losing both of their safeties because they were 1-year deals. I mean, I would imagine they're going to try to get them both back, but I think Buffalo would be an option in that situation. But they don't.
See, it's interesting that you say that because I was on Buffalo radio yesterday and I said the same thing. And they're like, no, Poyer's still got a year. And I'm like, huh? I thought Poyer was going to be a free agent again.
I'm not so sure I believe you. Maybe he isn't.
It's not me. I don't know. They told me I was nuts. Yeah, I've been called worse, so it is what it is. Scott, what's Ryan's favorite food and drink establishments at the Senior Bowl? I did not get to the Oyster House that I intended to, so I can't put that on the list. But I will tell you guys, not to give away my secret spot, but yeah, in fact, I won't give away my secret spot. How's that? You want to get to a place called God, what was it? Wildflowers, I think, for like oven pizza. That was pretty good. I'd had a few beers, so I can't swear that's the name, but I'll try to come up with that. And the establishments that I was drinking at were all breweries. So like that's what I did. Is I made the tour of, I wanted to see what the local breweries could do. That was kind of fun. If you want to see those, I put a couple reviews on the beer channel. You can check that out. Thoughts on bringing Kendall Fuller back? He's still got a knack for making some plays, but he's slower than he was before. He's over 30 now, I believe. I'd probably pass myself.
If you can bring back Mathieu, then yeah, I think I'm okay with it because I think he would do what Dan Sorensen does, but he could do it better. Maybe not so much the dime backer role, but that third safety, I'm okay with that.
Gotcha. Let's see. Is Drake London to T. Higgins a good comp? Not in my opinion. Drake London is somewhere between Mike Evans and Michael Pittman. Like survives close contact because he doesn't get a ton of separation, but he goes up and gets the ball, strong hands, good body control. What am I missing, Dan?
No, that's my Drake London is a Mike Evans. Like he's almost, from what I'm watching, he's almost like a shot for shot remake of Mike Evans. Like that's what he is, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to wrap it up the last few super chats, folks, and we will get out the door. I know I kept you late. I'm sorry for that tonight. I hope you guys are having fun because there's still 350 of us in here. I like
awesome.
that. Any chance Drew Lock is on the Chiefs roster next year? No. I think he's still on a rookie contract. The Broncos aren't going to let him go. They'll let that ride no matter what. Any chance Casey drafts a Megatron type wide receiver? I hope so. And talking about Drake London, that's the idea. I don't think Christian Watson is that style. Like, I think he can separate. I expect him to run at least low 4.4s, maybe get into the 4.38s, to tell you the truth. But do you think that they will go after a possession like a jump ball, go get it wide receiver?
No, but I think the fact that Christian Watson can separate as a big man gets him more of an opportunity to possibly play that style in this offense. So I'm okay with them looking at a little bit more separation type because Christian Watson can ball and the dude's big. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. What about a DJ Metcalf for McCole Hardman trade? John Schneider's not letting DK get out. No,
no,
that will never happen. Yeah. Hey, that ship sailed on draft night. Joseph, thank you. Thoughts on Michael Vick as a QB coach? He was at training camp a few years ago as a coach, I believe. Yeah, he was part of the program that they run for players, interning. I think if it ever happened, it's as likely with Andy or Doug Peterson as anyone, because they're who he worked with when he was with the Eagles. I haven't heard any rumblings of him having the desire, though. So I don't know.
Nah, he seems pretty comfortable.
I wouldn't be. Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling too. I mean, quite honestly, like I said, you guys, the grind that is the coaching life. TV life is better. I'm just telling you. Kyran Johnson looked good. You're right, Rev. Says he expects to run in the 4.4s at the latest. Not bad for 6'1", 230 linebacker. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and again, unfortunately, they didn't play him in positions much this week that he got to play backwards. That's for me what he would have to show. And I watch KU games live, so I have to go back and actually check the film because I'm a fan when I watch KU football, for as long as I can handle it each day. Thank you, Rev. Appreciate you. My father, great work tonight, and to all the staff. Thank you very much, Doug. We appreciate you. We couldn't do this without Aaron because you guys would see stuff that you should not see if it wasn't for him. What's your response to Tom Brady and Sean Payton retiring? Finally, and see ya. I don't have to keep talking about who the other expert is in the offensive gameplay. And our last one of the night, Longmorn here with the last shot. Thank you for being here, Longmorn. Appreciate you. I've been on the road in my truck for a while, so I wanted to say thanks for all the work this season. Well, thank you, Longmorn.
Thank you, Longmorn.
We appreciate you guys for being here and appreciate you guys supporting us. We're going to keep putting it out, though. This is just the beginning. Free agency will heat up here in the next couple of weeks, and then it will be all draft all the time because we will find options for this team, whether the team chooses them or not. We will find the options, I guarantee you. We have a very full offseason coming. Like, sub, hit the bell if you're new. Get ready. Check out Rogue APC if you want. The discount code RGR20 still works over there. You can get some of the old ones if you like them or whatever. We're looking forward to it. We have a lot coming. Dan, thank you for all the work this season. And now on to the bread and butter, right?
Oh, yeah. Just the grind doesn't stop here at RGR. We're just going to keep grinding it out, guys.
Well, just next, that's what we're doing. Dan's got a video for you tomorrow. I'm not going to give it away yet. And then he's got a rant coming, and then he's going to do film on Daxton Hill. So Seth and I will be back on Thursday, and I will get some film done as well. We'll have bits and clips and stuff. So as we come through prospects, you guys, I'm going to put up some smaller vids that are more bite-sized. People had said they wanted some shorter videos. We're going to work on that this offseason as well and give you more videos that are shorter length so you can get what you need when you need it. So look for that. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time and all the support here on RGR. And Dan will have something for you tomorrow, and I'll see you Thursday. Have a good one.